Hello, my great people. How are you doing? I'm supposed to have done this video on the 30th May or have presented it on the 30th May, but due to certain things beyond my control, but it's still ripe for me to present it now. It's very important. Nigeria made a lot of mistakes, and despite they told us 3 hours reconciliation, rehabilitation, whatsoever, they did not really follow it. And that is why you are seeing some recurrence. A lot of things are happening. Igbos are still being treated because the format the federal government of Nigeria brought did not really reflect what they want to do. And that is why you still see things still happen, things that are not supposed to be happening. The history is not in our school. There is no day set aside in Nigeria to remember such day. Nigeria is supposed to set aside a day to remember such day. It is not supposed to be observed by only Igbo alone. No. But because there was no proper healing. Yes, there was no healing. They did not do things right. So, every year on May 30th, millions of Igbo people around the world pause. Do you know why they pause? We pause to remember. We pause to honor. We pause to cry for the ones we lost in a war. The war in which they tried to silence us, but they failed. And this day is called Biafra Day, Biafra Heroes Day, whichever. So from May 1967 to January 1970, our fathers, mothers, brothers, and sisters fought a war, not to conquer. It wasn't a war to conquer Nigeria. It was a war to survive. Over 3 million Igbo people died, many of them children, during the Nigeria-Biafra War. Yet, their names are not written in the Nigeria school books. Their stories are not told in Nigeria's history classes. But we remember, because we are Igbo, because we are Biafrans, and we don't forget our heroes. This year, the World Igbo Congress, WIC, made a bold call. They asked the Nigerian government to declare May 30 as a national holiday to honor the fallen heroes and the heroines of Biafra. The chairman, Festus Okere, said something powerful. Ndi Igbo must never forget. We are duty bound to gather every 30th of May to honor those who gave their lives for our survival. And truly, it is our generational duty. Because Biafra Day is not politics. It is memory. It is respect. It is truth. To make sure the world never forgets, WIC, World Igbo Congress, is building a Biafra Memorial Wall of Fame and a memorial park. These are not just buildings. They are sacred grounds, a place where future generations can stand and say, here lies the truth, here lies honor. But there is a sad truth. In Nigeria today, history as a school subject has been erased or restricted. What kind of country hides its past from its children? That is why WIC says, we must tell our own stories. We must teach our children the truth. Because if Nigeria won't write our history, we will. The heroes of Biafra were not just soldiers. They were not just soldiers. They were nurses who treated the wounded with empty hands. Mothers who hid their children in the bushes. Boys who ran messages between trenches. They all fought. They all gave something. Some gave their lives. Some people ask, why do Igbos still remember Biafra Day? We remember because we refuse to forget who we are. We remember because the pain is still here. The wounds never truly healed. We remember because without justice, there can be no peace. That is why we are calling on the Nigerian government. Declare May 30 as a national holiday. Not for division, not for trouble, but for healing, for truth, for history. As WIC says, liberty is not savagery. It is the right to speak without fear, the right to gather without guns, the right to remember without shame. On this May 30 and every year, let us stand together. Let us teach our children the names of our heroes. Let us support the Memorial Park and the Wall of Fame. Let us light candles, not just in our homes, but in our hearts. Because the people who forget their dead are already dying. This is Igbo Area TV. We remember, we respect, we will never forget. May 30, Biafra Day. Thanks for watching. Please share this video widely. Make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed.
Providers and ready to lay it down for the cause of Biafra and salvation of humanity, that we are diligently to work while it is yet day, so that when the call comes down to lay down our tools, we may be found ready to enter into the kingdom of Ji-Uku Okike Abiyama, God Almighty, where in his light we shall see light. We remember the fallen of our Biafran armed services. We remember the victims of terror and tragedy. We remember the millions of defenseless women, men and children bombed in the markets, strapped to their death in schools and hospitals by Soviet MiGs and piloted by Egyptians. We remember Warrant Officer 1, Elijah Anosike, Staff Sergeant Ewon Ejiogo, Warrant Officer 2, Ndarake Uya, Staff Sergeant Davidson Njoku, Staff Sergeant Sylvanus Ezeku, Sergeant Evan Jim Udo, Corporal Panistat DK, Corporal Michael Akujike, Corporal Johnson Agu, Lance Corporal Gabriel Okezi, Sergeant Mbanefo Lawrence Ofurun, Sergeant John Ukeje, Sergeant Major Albert Ogumba, Sergeant Hyacinth Ogaji, Sergeant Emmanuel Ochi, Sergeant Peter Ejimako, Sergeant Nana Otuechu, Sergeant Morris Abe, Sergeant Peter Mbisi, Sergeant Obed Ajinwood. Using a lighted candle. Raise it up, facing the east, we say, may that courage be our inspiration and strength.
Amazoka Oje. Bye-bye for now.